But the writing won't. So that's where we have to put energy into making sure that we're writing at the pace that we want to.
Mm-hmm. Do you direct your own musicals?
No, I was just thinking of that when you were talking about that. I don't think I've directed workshops of musicals or readings. I think it's helpful, especially right off the bat, to give people an idea. There's this theory that, once you read a play, you should just scratch out all the writers and directors' stage directions, which I think is dead wrong. I'm not saying you have to follow them, but I think you have to read them to know what the intention was. And so I do think it's helpful off the start, certainly, and if there's someone who's maybe going to be directing the piece, to know what our intentions are. But once a play's been up and running, I don't know. I've never directed. I think now I would be able to have the distance to direct these plays, but I would always want to be sure there was someone else in the room that I trusted to be able to say, you know what, that section's slow, or you should be looking at this. I think it's it can be dangerous for there to be no outside eye other than the creators.
Is there anything you would like to talk about?
No, I just was, when Paul was talking about the blank page, I think that's what is the most exciting thing about writing, whatever, but writing as we write for musical theater is that, and in some ways that's the most rewarding thing for me, is that to be able to create something out of nothing is perhaps the most rewarding artistic experience.
Yeah, and I mean, like with the creating of songs, what we generally do is we'll start a session, and by the end of the session, we'll have a first draft of the song. And it may change, but we'd be able to perform it at the end of the session. And that's very exciting that, and that could be as short as an hour and a half. It's rarely longer than 3 hours. But to sit down and not have preconceived notions is very exciting. I mean, I guess what's preconceived is the rough of the text.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is the thing that's going to draw things out of us in terms of the composition.
Well, we were just writing a song a couple of nights ago,
yeah.
Which is, the lyric is based on the Death and Maiden song.
By Schubert.
And, we had a rough idea of what we wanted to do, and then as soon as we sat down and Paul started playing some of the chords from the song started going in a very, very different direction, and that's exciting. And you don't edit. You think, well, this is not what I had thought this song was going to sound like. You just go down the road, and then something that we never would have expected. It's a very different sounding song, but it's I wouldn't want to go back in the other direction now.
I think a lot of our writing comes out of improvisation. That's something we're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get stuff out there, and there's a song or a rough of a song, and even in the composition of the song, we will start looking for structure or things that can come back to help give it form. But I would say that's a very small part of what we do as we move forward. So we don't go into writing with this notion of what's the melody going to be for the A section, and therefore what does that mean about the pre-chorus and the chorus and the bridge. We're a bit more freeform.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as we're proceeding, like as we did the other night, if there's like a chorus that we hit upon and we're really happy with it, if we know that chorus is coming back, well then when that chorus comes back, we're just going to do what we did again. And it's fun, like we've learned, it's better to have the recording device on than not, because sometimes you don't think anything great's going to happen, and then something great happens, and then it's like, oh, we got to record it. And it was like, oh, what did I do here? What did I do there? So these recordings are long, and what's very fun sometimes is to hear the bad ideas, or to hear something that, good try, but that's probably not right. But then there's one nugget that is right. And then you hear us go at it a second time, and it's like, the wrong thing is a little better, there's the right thing. And then the third time it's like, oh, we did something different. Now that's the song. There's the right melody, there's the right setting of that lyric. And then we might just take another wrong turn. But just that experience of like putting stuff out there and then refining it in the moment, and then getting something that you'd like to be able to move on, and then having the experience of listening back to it, and then you can be very critical, and it's actually usually, I find, kind of funny. Not funny, but it can bring a smile to your face.
Yes,
to like,
they go, that was a terrible
there's
idea.
the terrible idea, there's a little better, there's a little, oh, and now it's great, or we're happy with where it's going. So that's always, that creating something out of nothing never gets tiring or boring.
And the last question, how do composers, lyricists and librettists get paid?
You get paid.
Like, not how much, but
No,
how
but
usually.
we get paid when somebody, like when the Shaw Festival commissions us to or they say they didn't commission us to write anything, but they say we want to produce this play. Then you negotiate your fee, and it usually involves part of the box office, and you just kind of go down that road.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really comes from theaters producing your work. Or with the case of CMTP, you get paid as writers, which is great, because that's not always the case with workshops.
Entering competitions, we've gotten some money by, entering and winning awards for having written things. Small amounts from SOCAN for selling CDs.
Is it different for a composer, lyricist and librettist, or is it the same amount, more or less?
Oh.
I think it depends. It's the same amount, more or less, but every writing team has to come to an understanding of how any money, any revenue would be divided. So when we work, it's 50-50. But if you looked at when we worked with Eric Wolf or Morwen Brebner, we would have come to an understanding about, or even what the billing will be, right? So with Morwen, she was billed for the book and the lyrics, and we were billed for the music. I think with Eric Wolf, we all three got lyric credit. So then you have to decide, based on the pie, does someone get half the pie or a third of the pie? And so then, if a theater is going to do the show and you're going to make X amount of money, how would that flow to the creators? So it's not a matter of the composers always make more than lyricists, but if there were a composer who insisted on a bigger piece of the pie, then he's going to get more than the lyricists, but it's because of what their negotiation was.
Well, thank you very much. This is the end of the interview.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alina.